One of the things that I really struggled with for a long time was understanding my why, but not knowing what to do about the how. And believe it or not, there's actually a technique in business. It's not a bad idea. Some consider it a little bit shady, but it's called share the wow, not the how. And what that means is that you want to share success stories, testimonials from people, explain all of the incredible things that you could do. You know, if you succeed as a business owner, you could own this yacht. And there's some good, well-meaning elements to sharing the wow. Of course, we want to share all of the success stories that we have. For example, I just logged off of helping a client with a podcast, how to improve some of their editing workflow and how to get better marketing going. And we had some incredible conversations. Me sharing those victories and wins that she has can show to others that what I may be able to help them with is valuable. And in her case, she lost 100 pounds and now is able to go help people by losing weight themselves if that's a goal of theirs. And she can share her own story and success that will be the wow. But then the good thing is she goes and shows the how. And so in this episode, I want to talk about some of the how when it comes to building business, because this is what I really struggled with. In the last episode, I talked about 7 mindset shifts that you need to make to succeed with your own business. Now that you have this mindset stuff intact, you understand it, you're overcoming some of your money blockers, you're starting to build some confidence, and maybe you really believe that you can do this, you come to that next question: what do I do? If you don't already have a business idea, it starts with asking yourself, what do people ask you for help with? What could you teach is an overarching question that you can always ask yourself as you're trying to develop content for marketing, maybe episodes for your own podcast or YouTube channel, maybe some lead generation stuff, like something that someone can download. If you want to do some complimentary coaching calls to help people out, if you want to go teach a workshop or prepare a slide deck that helps people, maybe write an email. Either way, every single one of those things has that same question. What could you teach? What could you help people with? What do people come to you to learn? Don't get too stressed out about this stuff. I know it's easier said than done, because I used to worry, like, I like helping people with learning how to paint. I like helping people with podcasting. I like helping people in fitness. I like helping people be better parents. I like helping people improve their mindset. I love helping them with the creative stuff like filmmaking, podcasting, writing books. And there are so many ways that once you start to pay attention to things that you can help people with, there are so many different ways that you can help people. But which of those ways do you want to become a business, and which of those ways would be the easiest or the most pain-free one that could become a business is one of the questions that we need to figure out. So make it about momentum, not perfection, and ask yourself these 2 questions. Who are you selling to, and what problem are you solving? For the sake of brainstorming in the first place, if you have no ideas, then the goal today is just to come up with 4 or 5 ideas. In some way, your ideas should connect to health, wealth, or relationships. As I say that, you might be like, I already have 25 ideas. Well, in that case, it'll be a matter of us boiling it down, but you might be struggling to come up with ideas. And so what I'm going to share is essentially a few prompts that you can use to help you come up with ideas. And maybe if you already have 4 or 5 or 25, these prompts help you think of something that you might not have thought of already, or it'll run your ideas through these prompts to see if there's something that you still feel like pursuing. So the first thing that I like to look at is the classic Ikigai 4 circles that overlap to help us figure out what our passion is in life. So we can look at this in general terms, and as we look around it, it might spark some ideas of things that we want to create. As you look at the Ikigai circle, you can see brainstorming ideas around what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs and what you can be paid for. And if you can find the middle intersection of that, that's where we hit this Ikigai, where we really truly figure out a reason for being. If you figure that out, then 100%, I want to cheer you on as you go and build the business within that specific niche. Now, if those Ikigai circles don't do it for you in terms of brainstorming business ideas, we can turn to the 8 Ps, which are each a single word that helps us brainstorm business ideas. And so the first one is practice. What things do you do? What do you practice? What skills do you have? Maybe you're already good at jujitsu and self-defense, and a beginner wouldn't know where to start. So you could really help them because you've already practiced. It's the things that you have experience with. And then number 2 is people. So again, if people came to you for help with something, what would they be coming to you for? When you interact and engage with people, what parts of communication do you enjoy? How do you like to serve? What do you like about people? Or maybe you don't even like people, in which case that's not one to use for your own ideation. Pondering. When it comes to this P, what things do you think about? And this is like having your head in the clouds as you go for a walk through a forest and go on a run, go for a drive, or you're in the shower, those types of thoughts. What things do you think about when you just let your mind run wild and think of ideas that you might want to build? Passion. So maybe it's not necessarily a skill yet, but you know that when you are spending time doing this thing, that time just flies by. Now, it can't purely be a hobby because we're building a business. So you're going to need to want to monetize it in some way. If writing poetry is a passion that you would never want to have be infiltrated with money and the idea of commerce, then don't choose that. But in most cases, things we're passionate about, maybe it's even just collecting Pokemon cards, it could be a business. So what things are you passionate about? Problems. This might be the most common one. You could go walk around your house, go take a walk through the mall, ask other people, or just go about your daily life and take note of problems that you come up against. Maybe it's with an editing software you use that you just can't figure out how to do something that you want to do because it doesn't really exist in the marketplace. Maybe there's something with the way that your garbage can doesn't seal, and you know there must be a solution out there for a clip that would help it seal better. Or maybe it has to do with the way the pockets are on your golf bag, or how the cup holders don't really work in your car. It could be so many things, but just identifying things that don't work the way that you think they should and thinking, if there is a solution, what would that solution be? Products is the next P. And so looking at things that already exist, but could be done better. So what products already exist, but maybe aren't being sold or marketed as well as they could be, or maybe they're just missing one element or one way of explaining their benefits, and you know that that product exists and it inspires you, but that it could be done a lot better. Pains. What are other people really struggling with that you see as you observe your environment and the people around you? What really brings people pain that you know that if you could solve that for them, it would be a game changer and they'd be almost willing to pay anything to have that problem solved? And then what pains do you have? When you feel pain as it relates to your day-to-day life or your business or your creativity, when you're struggling and you're feeling that pain that you want relieved, what would relieve that pain? And finally, payment. This is an interesting one. Similar to products, what are people already paying for that maybe you could borrow from a different industry or change the business model a little bit, because you already know that people will pay money to have this solved, but potentially paying in a different way may make the economics of the business actually better. Or what things do you already pay for? Take a look through your bank statement and recognize what things that you make payments for, and allow those things to inspire you around the problem that you solve for people or the audience that you have, that you could charge people in a similar way to things that you are already paying for. If you're willing to pay for it, there are probably people that would be willing to pay for it in a similar way. Take each of those P's, go through them, use the Ikigai circle, and the goal is to just come up with 4 or 5 or, heaven forbid, 25 business ideas that you would be willing to start for you. Wishing you all the best as you think of your business ideas. Until next time, just keep learning.